Hey guys, gals, and MPs. Today we're going to use the TEO-5 and we're going to make a moody PWM pad that's going to be reminiscent of possibly synthwave and the idea of cyberpunk. Not the awful video game. I'm still, I don't like it, but of the, Blade Runner style stuff. So it's going to be pretty awesome. The best synth to do that is obviously the TEO-5, in my opinion. It's probably one of my favorite synths of all time at this point, obviously, since you know my history with it, if you've been a fan of my channel for a while. But yeah, let me stop talking, and I'm going to talk, but we're going to get into making it. So let's make an init patch. And so we hold down the negative octave and -2 on the low split. So that sets an init patch. And by default, we get a sawtooth on both oscillators. Oscillator 2 is turned off. We're going to use PWM, so let's turn on square on both oscillators, turn off the sawtooth on both oscillators, bring in oscillator 2, bring in the sub, and it sounds something like this. Make sure your synth is at least recently calibrated. Mine is, so go through the menu, do the calibration. It takes about a minute or two. We don't want to have any beating that's outside of the scope of what we're doing, but we want to get some chorusing. To get some natural chorusing, I say natural chorusing because we're not using an external effect or the internal chorus. We will use the internal chorus, don't worry. We're going to use oscillator 2 detune, which has a control here. I want to set it to right around there, and it's going to thicken things up. See, off. Too much. We want it right around there. Doesn't sound very moody. Kind of sounds accordion-like, doesn't it? But don't worry, that's what we have the envelopes for. So let's go ahead and shape the envelopes. So the first thing we want to do is make sure the attack on the amplifier envelope is all the way down. We want to add a bit of decay, probably right around there. Sustain, let's turn it right around here. Luckily, I made this patch before, so I can kind of tell where I was at when I made it. Let's set the release to right around here, and we get this. Maybe a little less decay. Yeah, so pretty cool sounding already. Not exactly moody, but let's turn down the cutoff like right around here. All right. And let's turn the resonance way up. We want it more than half. So right around there. Okay. We're not going to hear much. Maybe a little bit of bleed through. But yeah, now we're going to use the amount here, which will set the amount to the filter cutoff by default. And we want to set it around here. Turn the sustain to about the same sustain as we have on the amp envelope. Let's turn the decay quite a bit up here. Let's add some release. So without a attack stage, this is what it sounds like. You can hear the sizzle from the awesome filter. Let's turn that down just a hair. I think we want it maybe a little higher. Maybe a little. Right, sounding pretty damn good. Let's add the attack to make this a nice, like, epic pad. I'm going to turn the amount down a little. Maybe a little less, maybe a little less sustain. What's going to happen is we're going to hit that decay stage, and it's going to shoot up, and then it's going to mellow out with a lower sustain. So like this. You can hear it just ramp up, right, all the way, and then, yeah. Let's add a little less cutoff. We wanted a little, like an initial cutoff, but not too much. Let's add a little less detune. All right, sounding really good. Let's maybe drop back off a little bit on the amount for the filter. Let's add a low split so we can really hear the bassiness of this patch on the low notes here. So let's trigger here. And I mean, it sounds really good right now, but we want to add a little bit of movement. So let's add some PWM. So I like to start the PWM right in the middle. So we're going to set the pulse width to be right here. So we start here by a default patch, but we're going to make it a little weedy sounding in the middle, like this. Along with that resonance, it actually sounds really nice. Maybe let's turn the sustain a little lower. A little less resonance. All right, let's add the magic. So we want to use the polyphonic alpha. Let's set the destination to pulse width, right? And we want to set the amount pretty high, about 68, 67. We want to set the frequency right around here, and listen to this. And that's with no effects or pan spread. So that said, let's add some pan spread. So go into the source section here. We're going to go from the source, and we want to choose the voice spread. And voice spread is basically a value that states, hey, this oscillator gets this value. So when that oscillator triggers, send this value to whatever destination. So let's just pretend oscillator 1 gets a value of 0, oscillator 2 gets a value of 127, oscillator 3 gets a value of like 64. So it's just every time a new voice is sounded, you basically, it's not an oscillator, I should say, it's every time a voice is activated, so that's both oscillators in a voice, then you get a discrete value from that. And if we set that to panning, obviously what happens there is we get a beautiful pan spread. I wish this synth and the TEO-5 had a pan spread knob directly on it, so you didn't have to go through all this, but this works. Let's add a little less amount here on the envelope. No, I like it a little bit harsh, right? Here you can really hear how the envelope shaping is really paying off, where we get a harsh decay, and then it goes into this mellow sustain loop like this. Isn't that gorgeous? Especially with the high resonance and the SEM filter just sounding as gorgeous as it does. All right, let's add an effect. I'm going to add chorus. I don't usually use chorus. So I should say I don't use chorus on this synth. So let's turn it on. We want the time around here. We want the depth around here. We want the feedback control is like a filter. We want it around there. A little less time maybe. All right, let's do this. already sounding absolutely wonderful and gorgeous and usable. But what we could do is add a little bit of reverb. The reverb in this is passable. Let's turn up the size all the way. Let's turn the mix about there. Size up all the way, pre-decay down. Decay about there. A bunch of low pass filtering so it's not so harsh and ringy, and it'll sound like this. Gorgeous, right? All right, let's pick up the I don't know how I'm gonna say it. Let's just make it even more interesting, right? So I should have probably brought out the Big Sky MX, but let's pretend we have a really high-end reverb, which we do. I have a software reverb. I'm not sharing my screen with it, but I have Valhalla Supermassive ready to go. I have the preset called We Are Stardust set up with a 50-50 wet mix, and I'm going to go ahead and engage it right now. So let's hear it without this internal reverb and using Supermassive. So yeah, this is going to be amazing. Oh, maybe a little too much feedback there. Let's turn the feedback way down. Let's do this. I think that sounds just amazing. All right, that's pretty much it. That's that moody pad that I wanted to make and share with you guys, and it sounds absolutely fantastic. If you like this kind of content and you haven't subscribed to my channel already, go ahead and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you liked this video, and I will see you soon next time with another video. All right, thanks again. Bye.